Hey, what's up, Showstoppers? It's your boy Showstopper Gaming back with another WWE 2K24 video, and today we are going to be talking about My Rise. It looks like we got My Rise Unleashed and My Rise Undisputed this year. Um, so, for those who haven't seen my other videos, just to catch up, I am releasing one video every Friday until the game releases, going over each mode. Obviously, this is a new channel. I'm trying to build up and build a community of other people passionate about wrestling that just want to share positive vibes in gaming and have a good time, right? So I appreciate everyone who's checking out the videos, who's dropping the likes, comments, subscribes. So much appreciation to you guys, and I really hope you know we can build a huge community. And I'm definitely going to be putting the work in to bring content each and every week. So you guys are just seeing the very beginning of what's to come. It's going to be a lot more content. I promise you that. But to continue on in this series, we are going to be talking about My Rise today. And again, I'm doing a little bit of a different take. Obviously, I didn't play the game early, and there's so much news coming out that I don't want to just be repeating the same information. So for me, I figured I would focus on each individual game mode, say the things I like, don't like, and suggestions for the future in this gaming series of what could possibly make for a more enjoyable time. And I do want to say that I do give a lot of opinions and suggestions to make the game better, but I do think 2K has crushed it last year, and it looks like I'm hoping it's going to be another positive year for the series with everything they're implementing. And I want to say, I think we're getting some of the best games we've gotten since 2K took over, um, and two, some of the best wrestling games ever. I know even myself included, a lot of us have fond memories of older games like Here Comes the Pain, No Mercy, Shut Your Mouth, and for valid reasons, I think they were ahead of their time, especially with what they were doing with story modes and all kinds of stuff. But if you go back and play it today, there is some things like um, where it's night and day difference, and I do think that we're getting back to where the gameplay is smooth and competitive, and we're getting all these features and match types and stuff like that I think we're getting back in that golden age of WWE gaming. I just think there's a few things that could be done to send it over the top. So today we're going to discuss My Rise and all my opinions around that. To start, I think it's a great mode. I think all the modes, the way they structured the modes, I think makes for um, a very good overall game, right? So you have Showcase as kind of this get to know the controls, kind of relive the history, play as different superstars mode, which is great. It's exactly what it needs to be. And then you have universe mode where you can kind of do whatever, and they added this last year the superstar mode to that, where you can play as a single superstar. So I think that kind of satisfies those people who like to play the story modes but play as any superstar. Obviously, we talked about in the last video, there's improvements that could be made to make a more streamlined experience in that. But that's what leaves my rise room for it to be that create a wrestler. You always want to be a WWE wrestler, and now you can create your own and live out your dreams. I think that's a great concept, and I don't think they need to change it. I think you could add the addition of not have to be a creative wrestler, but you have all the other modes that you can use all the other rest of the roster for. So I think leaving it the way it is fine. And now we're getting cutscenes and voiceovers and all that. I will be fair, I did not play My Rise last year. Last year I was just really busy, so I didn't get to play the game that much at all, and I was a part of a online league. So when I did get to play, my focus kind of shifted to that and the competitive version of the game. But this year I do plan to play through, hopefully both of the My Rise paths, men and women's division. So Probably going to be content wise what I stream whenever I stream on Twitch. It's probably going to be my rise, so that's probably going to be the way I do the content for that. And just, I don't know if it's going to be once a week or once every 2 weeks. I don't know exactly on that yet, but um, let's jump in and talk about the mode and my opinions. I love a story mode. Where it gets boggled down for me is one of my favorite story modes was SmackDown Shut Your Mouth and SmackDown Here Comes the Pain, because there was a lot of freedom in it, right? So I played SmackDown Shut Your Mouth probably the most. And the way they did their story modes was there would be like a month where you were stuck in a storyline and you had to basically go about doing whatever that storyline was, right? But the good thing was it would switch characters, it would switch people, because you basically started that story off with a draft, and it wasn't pre-selected who was going to go where. You literally did the draft. So you could play that story over again and it could be maybe the same storyline but with different people. It gives it a unique feel, right? So that was one thing that was cool, was that there was a lot of different stories and the characters could be somewhat interchangeable, right? And the one thing I liked, when you weren't in a story, there would be several months. Like you would do a story, you would finish, and you would have about a month where you could do different actions. And one of these was you can go to the GM and challenge for a title or create a tag team. But what this did was, and you could essentially, say, oh, I want to be Intercontinental Champion and challenge for that belt and do that. And it doesn't affect your storyline process, right? But you also don't, there's not like a storyline where you have to challenge for the Intercontinental title, right? It's all kind of the becoming champions and stuff is mixed in. The one downside to that was there was a lot of pay-per-views where you would be double booked and there was some unrealistic features in that, right? But I think for me, the best story mode that you can have is this mixture between freedom to occasionally just do what you want to do, whether that's challenge for tag titles, intercontinental title, world title, whatever, create a champion, create a tag team, create a faction, whatever. To have those options when you want to in your story, right? But to also have these set storylines that make you feel like you're living that WWE life and you're involved in storylines you would see on TV, right? So I think finding the mixture of that, and it's extremely hard, right? Because let's say in your free time Intercontinental Champion, then okay, now what story? It's a lot of branching storylines where they have to be able to shift different storylines, which again, I didn't play through the last one, so I can't necessarily say how well it did to that. I'm excited to play through this one. Um, and let's just read the description here. So, two action-packed career arcs. Sent to a WWE recruit to a decorated WWE champion in my rise. Um, Original storylines, men's and women's division. Okay, so not a ton of information we've gotten about this mode. But I think it's a good one. I think there's a lot of people who like it. I think it fits a need for a certain part of the market, a part of the fans that enjoy these kind of modes. I think I'm excited to try it this year. I think I'm going to really enjoy it. I was a big story mode fan in Shut Your Mouth and Here Comes the Pain. And I mean, I played through them over and over and over again. Um, my one suggestion, and this is going to be kind of ring through all my videos, is adding online features to every mode type, because I feel like the modes they have are great and they're adding little things to them each year and they're set. Like I think these are your modes basically going in every game until there's some other idea that shifts it, but I don't think you necessarily need more than this and you don't need less than this, right? But what I think you can enhance these is adding some sort of online feature to each of these modes, right? So my thought process behind my rise, which I think can help you have that best of both worlds, where you have the freedom and then the structured storyline. Is you have your regular storyline progression, right? And that helps you unlock your, moves, attires, build up your superstar level, all that, right? And then you have an online version. And I know they tried this a while back where there was like online matches with your created wrestler and events and stuff like that. Um, but for me, I think the online mode should be fairly simple, where it's basically tied to your progress, right? In your individual story modes, right? Or if you want to even do it where the online mode unlocks after you defeat the regular one, whatever, But I think it's same concept. You have your created wrestler. Everyone has their created wrestler, right? And you choose a brand to go to: Raw, SmackDown, NXT, whatever, right? And you have the option to change brands throughout your time there, right? And when you do that, based on your maybe superstar points, or they can create something. It used to be superstar points back in SmackDown, Here Comes the Pain and stuff like that. But something based on like the matches you're having and the stars you're getting and wins, losses, right? Where you have, superstar points or something that tells you what division you can go into, right? And you enter a division. Let's say you enter the IC title division, right? Well, you fight against other people in that division, um, to get so many wins, right? And once you have so many wins, you can challenge for the IC title. And I think this is something that can be used in my faction as well, but we'll focus on it in my rise for this video. So let's say you need 6 online wins to challenge for the title. You get that, you challenge for the title, you become champion if you win. And then from there on out, every match you have counts as a title defense, right? Until you lose it, and then that's your reign, right? So, and you can even do it where like every defense counts as like a week's time or 2 weeks' time, So let's say you defend it 6 times, then you could have been champion for so many days or whatever, right? And this all adds to your personal stats in this mode. And you can do this for every title, every division, Raw, SmackDown, NXT. You can change brands, do all that in this online mode where it's your created wrestler against other people's created wrestlers. And the cool part that I think is this is where you can add objectives and cool, like, customizable unlockables, right? And they could even release content monthly of new unlockables and stuff. I don't want to necessarily see like a battle pass or something where there's all this custom stuff. But I mean, hey, if it's a hit and it goes to that, whatever. But I do think it could be a really fun mode for people who love their created wrestler and want to play with it online against other people's created wrestlers in a more function thing where it's not just you're a level 100. You actually have to build them up. And I would even say, maybe they're separate. So like you have to build your online, it's not like you finish the main series and you're 100 overall and jump right into online. Maybe it knocks you back down to, depending on how you did in the regular one or whatever, right? But there should be some build up in the online mode too. And with the superstar points or whatever your progression goes. And then obviously men and women's online version. But I think the biggest thing that adds is just replayability, right? And this competitive nature that I think WWE games really need. I think that now that the game's getting more competitive and there's less, move manipulation and spamming and cheating and all those things, there's no reason that wrestling games couldn't be a part of the esports world. And I think it's made for it because it's entertainment, right? And I think you have a huge opportunity to create a whole esports world with this game. And I think to do that first, though, you have to start adding a lot of online features. And I think this is an easy one to implement. It's, again, these divisions, you win titles. And I think what would be cool would be to add trophies and achievements and all these things that if you do, it ups your status. Maybe you start off as a rookie and okay, you won a mid card title, so that gives you a little like XP boost or whatever, right? And now you're okay. Now you're um, a mid card. Now you're a main event. Now you're a legend. Now you're a Hall of Famer, right? And all these different tasks. So maybe it's win a mid card title, win a tag title, become a Grand Slam champion. Could be one like before you go into the Hall of Fame or something like that, or win a total of 15 championships or something. You can have all these achievements that if you unlock, then it gives you like a boost in your level and it gets you closer to becoming a Hall of Famer, right? Because that's what these modes are in on solo play, right? You're playing through the W, you're doing all these achievements, you're becoming a Hall of Famer. So just transition that to have an online counterpart where you're just doing matches against other people's created wrestlers to to win championships and become a Hall of Famer. And the reason I think this will work better than what they tried before was just to unlock limited things, customizable options, all that. And the game wasn't as competitive as it is now. There was a lot of spamming and stuff like that. What I think this adds to is you have stats. You can win titles, right? You can level up your level. So it's not just I'm not just playing game to have a rank. And if someone plays, it has the time to play 200 more games than me, then they're gonna have better stats than me. That's not necessarily true. If you're good at the game and you play enough games to win titles and all that, you can build up your stats and resume to be this multi-time champion and all that. And you can really compare against your friends and other people online, and it creates this competitive community in this mode. And I think it should be across all modes. I think pretty much everything but showcase mode should have an online counterpart. And so this is the big one I think that would be really cool to implement as a first, online option. Um, and I think it would just really grow this mode a lot. I mean, I would love to have the opportunity to, play through this mode, create my wrestler, and then once I'm done, it doesn't stop there. Like I have this awesome wrestler that I created. Now I can use them to play against other people online and build an online resume, online career where I've won titles against actual competitive players. I've become a Hall of Famer. That's a big achievement. That's people play games to have fun, but also to have a sense of like accomplishment and like, I beat something in that competitive nature in us. So I just think that would be a huge addition to the game. And to me, again, I don't know all the how you have to rework it or how much that would be to add, but really it's just online servers, choosing a brand, choosing a division. You lock however many people in that division, and then you can do matches. And if you win a certain matches, you get a title shot, and then that goes on your stat profile or whatever. And there's a lot that you can add once you get that as a base. You can add, say you face the same person online a few times, then they become a rival, or say you want to team up with a friend and go for the tag team titles. Maybe you can do a tag match together online against another team, and that can be that person, that player can be considered your ally, or your faction and stuff like that. There's so much essentially that can happen, and you're basically creating essentially a WWE full of created wrestlers that are really doing just that, like next generation, right? So that's my big suggestion for this mode, is to add that online capability. And I think if you do it that way, where you can win titles, stats, and unlock achievements to become a Hall of Famer, um, that would get enough interest in the mode, and then you just add little stuff from there. So I'm really excited to hear what you guys have to think of the idea, what you think of my rise in total. Let me know in the comments below. Would you like to see an online function to that where you can play against other created wrestlers and win titles? What do you guys think of that idea? Again, we're just hoping to build a community here where we can talk about gaming stuff like this, these ideas, and just have fun. And I want to, produce content that you guys enjoy. So if you're checking it out, I appreciate any support, likes, comments, subscriptions. I'm going to be doing a lot of content. And like I said, this is going to be one where I'm going to be streaming on Twitch, which I always have the link in my description. So you can also follow me there. Again, I appreciate all the support. I really am excited for this year to try to build this channel and this community. And I think it's going to be awesome. And I have a lot of exciting stuff planned, Um, so as we get into some of the other modes, I'm definitely going to be telling you more about what I'm going to be uh, creating and what content I'm going to be putting out. So I saved my favorite two for last, or the two that I think have the most potential for last, with my faction and my GM. And those are two that I'm going to be doing a lot of content on this year, hopefully. But jumping out of the gate, we're going to be doing a playthrough of showcase mode. That's basically going to probably replace my one day, I think Sunday, maybe every Sunday, we're going to do a playthrough of showcase mode and release that. We're going to be streaming my Rise so that we can, you know, just play through it. I'll probably be releasing recaps through YouTube maybe, but yeah, we're going to be streaming this mode mainly, right? And then we're going to be doing weekly My Faction videos, and eventually I'm hoping to do a weekly GM mode series with my wife. And again, I'll talk about all that stuff more as we get into those modes. But I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited for the game. I think it's going to be a great one. And again, I'm excited to just have so much content out there. I think as of now, I planned at least 2 weekly videos, but I'm also going to be hopefully a part of a league. There's some online server issues last year, so it's going to be step back in a simpler version this year, but I'm still hoping to put a lot of competitive matches out there on YouTube for you to watch around this league and keep you updated on if I can win any titles or not. And then also bring you content on each of these modes. So, um, hope you join me along on this ride and join the community. And as always, I appreciate it. And until next time, never stop still in the show.